Hi guys, welcome to another camera comparison here. So this is the Mi 8 versus the OnePlus 6 here. So two flagships with the same chipset, the Snapdragon 845. We have a 12 megapixel sensor on the Mi 8 and a 16 megapixel main rear camera sensor on the OnePlus 6 here. So I'm going to be testing out the sound. I'll be swapping over the sound sources. You can see the little speaker icon there. We'll check out samples from the front cameras, the rear cameras, photos in both low light and during the daylight here, video samples too. Now recording here in 4K 30 frames per second. The OnePlus 6 can do 60 frames per second, but this whole video will be encoded in 30 frames per second, so that's the only reason why I'm going for that, and the fact of course that we can't do 60 frames per second on the Mi 8. So focus, I found, tends to be a little bit better on the Mi 8. The dual pixel autofocus tends to win out most of the time now when it comes to focusing on things, and it just seems to be a little bit quicker. Not that the OnePlus is bad, but it did have some problems with the focus on previous firmwares, but that has been corrected. So we have electronic image stabilization that is working now with the with the OnePlus 6, and just optical with Xiaomi's Mi 8. So in terms of stability, there's quite a big difference. The audio winner, well, that's very clear to me here, is the OnePlus 6. Much better audio. The Xiaomi's audio is very scratchy. It's a little flat. It's not very good at all. They need to fix this. That's been a problem with Xiaomi for some time. They need to address their audio quality in videos on their flagships. And when you have a look at the detail now, so I've zoomed in to a 200% crop. Very disappointing results. Now you don't even have to crop in. Even looking at this video in 4K on a 4K TV, if you look at it at 1080p on 1440p monitor or TV, you will not see it. But the OnePlus is very disappointing here. It's lacking details. It's very soft, the image, lacking sharpness. And that is why I'm actually going to give the visuals the win, at least here, to the Xiaomi Mi 8, because its 4K quality is so much sharper, lots more detail. The OnePlus 6 almost looks like 1440p video upscaled that I have seen before on cheap 4K Chinese cameras and even cheap Chinese mobile phones that are fake 4K footage, because all they're doing is just upscaling. Low light sample now with the front facing cameras, and again I'm going to have to give it to the OnePlus 6 here because it's got the stability. It also just seems to be a little bit brighter here, my face overall. Now of course I've got the light pointing on me, so I'm just going to step out and into the shadow more here, and we'll see how it handles this transition. Now you can see both of them are quite a bit of grain and noise. Now taking a look at low light on both of the rear cameras, it's still 4K 30 frames per second here, and you can see neither of them is wonderful. There's quite a bit of noise, but I do think that the Mi 8 is actually faring a little bit better here. Just because the video is a little bit sharper, there's less noise, but it also seems brighter too, which is good. We're getting more details in the shadows here instead of just being completely black in some places on the OnePlus 6. So that's the camera comparison there. What do you guys think? Let me know, who do you think won this battle here? It's obvious to me, front-facing camera, the OnePlus's 16 megapixel camera beats the hell out of the Xiaomi Mi 8s. It's so much better. We have electronic image stabilization. It's got way better exposure. It just has an overall much better image. Better audio too on video from the OnePlus 6. Now where things do surprise is video quality with 4K. So we get obviously up to 60 frames per second on the OnePlus, something that the Mi 8 at the moment can't seem to do, even though the hardware should be able to do it, the Snapdragon 845. So what is surprising is that when you zoom in, you don't even have to zoom in. Use a 4K TV or a monitor and you will see that the OnePlus 4K 30 frames per second video is very soft. It's lacking massive amounts of sharpness, it's lacking detail. So I have to give the win there in video quality on the rear camera to the Xiaomi Mi 8. It is better, it's just sharper. The stability isn't as good, no, because it's not the electronic stabilization, it's only optical, but I do believe that it's better there. Low light performance, well, very close. It's really hard to say. You do see more details in the shadows on the Mi 8, and sometimes you also see that on the OnePlus 6. And you do see a little bit of over sharpening, a little bit of compression artifacts on the OnePlus, a little bit more than the Mi 8, so very close there. Daylight photos, again, I'm going to have to say that the OnePlus 6 is slightly better. That one has the edge with the 16 megapixel resolution.